I still cannot believe it has been 20 years. I like to joke with some of my colleagues that I started when I was 10. I was a nanny. They trusted me, so they figured why not ask me to help out. So I've often said that Wanhua feels like my third child. Being a part of this company from the very beginning.
The daughter of a mail carrier and a grocery store clerk, raised in a small blue-collar town just outside of Philadelphia, Melissa Gutzler's success wasn't handed to her. Instead, her journey started by watching her parents work hard every day to provide for their family. 20 years ago, Melissa joined Wanhua at its infancy stages in America. She was still in college, still figuring out, changing majors, and wondering if she ever find her footing. Today, she connects teams, data, and decisions across a global chemical company. Because sometimes the most powerful careers aren't built on having all the answers. They're built on showing up and putting in the work, just like her parents taught her. Hi, Melissa. Good morning. Thank you for sitting down with me today on my second episode of Inside Wanhua. When we were first thinking about who we were going to interview for our 20-year anniversary in Wanhua, you were the first person to jump into my mind, and I couldn't think of a better guest for today's episode than the very person that has been with Wanhua for 20 years, as long as Wanhua has been in the United States. So thank you for joining me today. I'm looking forward to our conversation. Our paths don't normally cross. We're not in the same state. We don't work together, but every time we work together or we've talked, it has been easy and very, very natural. So I'm very excited to have you here today on our second episode of Inside Wanhua. How are you today?
I'm good. I'm excited to be here.
Thanks. So I want to start with, I actually heard one day when I heard about you, I heard in a table, somebody mentioned, oh, Melissa is the oldest employee. She's been here with us since she was a kid. And I was like, and that didn't make sense until I heard about your story. So let's start at the beginning. You were one of the first two people in Wanhua. Tell us how was that 20 years ago?
I still cannot believe it has been 20 years. I just can't believe it. I like to joke with some of my colleagues that I started when I was 10. Just so it doesn't age me. But I did not start when I was 10. I was legally able to work. I was probably like 23 years old. But the beginning was, honestly, it was exciting and it was scary at the same time. I really had no idea what to expect. At the time, I was juggling classes at a local college. I was a nanny, so that was my job at the time. And I was still just trying to figure out what I wanted to do with my life. I really just had no clue. And then this opportunity presented itself, and I just figured, why not? Why not give it a try?
So just to for the people who are viewing this, Melissa was a nanny to the person who started, to the manager, right?
Yeah,
To the current manager at that moment.
at that moment.
Yes. And then things started to pick up, and you were the nanny in that household, but then they pull you in to do actual work.
Yes, yeah, I had been nannying for quite some time then, and I was taking care. His name was Mark Bradley, who was our then general manager. And when I say it was a nanny, his son was older. He was probably like 9 or 10, and I was basically just driving him to and from school. So, yeah, I guess they trusted me, so they figured why not ask me to help out.
That's a really nice anecdote. And so you've been here for almost 20 years and you've changed roles several times, right? As the company has grown. So you've seen that we were talking that you've pretty much been the cornerstone of the company. You have this bird eye view of everything that has happened and how the company has grown. Can you walk me through that evolution? How has your role shift from the early years to what now Wanhua is here in the U.S.?
Yes, my role at Wanhua has definitely evolved as we've grown. When I first started, it was just Mark and myself. So we were very much in startup mode. We were focused on finding an office space, building a customer base, and honestly just figuring out everything as we went. Um, and then once we got our footing and we moved into our first office, we started to bring a few more people on board. We brought someone over from China. We hired someone to help locally with the finance side of things. And then it shifted from me being more of an assistant to Mark to getting involved in the supply chain and customer service logistics. It really felt like I was learning something new every day. And then after that, my role kind of switched to, we kind of had customer service and logistics combined at that time. So the role was very much, I was like scheduling trucks and making paperwork and communicating with customers.
Pretty much laying down the foundation of operations here in the United States. We are a huge global chemical company here in the United States. We have sales offices. So you pretty much started that from the ground up, from its infancy stages when we had nothing here.
Yeah.
It's pretty exciting. And now, your current role now is a business support analyst, correct?
Yes.
Okay. What does that look like? What's a typical day, and if there's such thing as a typical day here in Wanhua?
Typical day.
Yeah.
So yes, I've been in the business support analyst role for the past 3-4 years. And I support leadership and the commercial team through reporting, coordination, and cross-function problem solving. Overall, my role has evolved alongside the business, from building the foundation to helping support a more mature, data-driven organization.
So, Melissa, so we see how your roles have shifted, right? It was only two of you, and it's natural as we get more and more people, you kind of take a step back and become more strategic. You're more of a support, and now your current role is a business support analyst. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. So, what does a typical day looks like for you? And if there's such a thing as a typical day here in Wanhua as a business support analyst?
Yes. My day, I would say, starts out with a lot of spreadsheets. I have several reports that I pull daily to spot trends or flag anything that needs attention. I pull together the highlights. I send updates to our sales and marketing team. I also keep a close eye on business drivers like natural gas and benzene prices. And I work directly with HQ to maintain the master data in our systems. Of course, there are always those
Master data of what? I'm sorry.
Oh, the master data in our system, so like SAP, whenever we have a new customer or something for a customer that needs to change, I have to reach out to HQ. We have a system where we have to update that information. But of course, there are always those unexpected surprises that land on my desk every day. So after so many years here, I tell people that if I don't have the answer, I almost always know who does. So I usually end up jumping into all sorts of cross-functional projects. I generally enjoy rolling up my sleeves and helping wherever I can. It keeps the workday exciting, you know? It ensures that no 2 days are the same.
No 2 days are the same in Wanhua. Every day can bring new challenges. You've been with the company 20 years. That's a long time. Nowadays, I would say that's rare, right? What has keep work interesting, and how do you create space for new ideas, for innovation?
I feel like I support innovation by removing the friction that slows teams down, whether it's centralizing file storage, streamlining inventory tracking, or just coordinating cross-functioning projects. I focus on making information accessible and aligning stakeholders quickly. This creates space for teams to focus on problem solving and execution, helping good ideas move faster from concept to action.
I feel like you're very needed as well here in our in our in our VU. That's a very important role, and especially with all the knowledge that you've accumulated within the years, to have somebody in there with that long track of information about Wanhua, about the business, who knows how things get done at a headquarter level. I would think that you're very indispensable for, like, we really need you here in this company. Also in our group as well, in our BU as well. A little bit more about yourself. You grew up in Philly, right? That's where our headquarter is.
Yeah, I grew up outside of Philadelphia, in a small suburb. My mom worked at a local grocery store. So, like I said, she would get recognized when we would go out anywhere. We would just go to a different store, anywhere, walking in the neighborhood, and people would just say, "Oh, how do I know you? Where do I know you from?" And I just always thought that was so funny because she was like a local celebrity. And my dad was a mail carrier, of course. So he delivered mail around the local suburbs. And, he was the mail carrier for some of my teachers. So they were just, local people in the community. But watching my parents show up every day, working hard and taking pride in providing for our family, just really stuck with me. That work ethic and sense of community is something I still carry with me and bring to my role at Wanhua.
You also mentioned that you've changed your major when you started with Wanhua, you were also in college.
Yes, I
and
was.
you changed major a couple of times, as we all do, as we all do. How do you look back on that uncertainty now, and how does that also help you or fuels how you work here in Wanhua? That uncertainty, not having all the answers.
I used to worry that not being able to settle on a major meant that I was somehow failing, or like falling behind, missing something essential. I felt embarrassed and frustrated at the time. Looking back, I see that uncertainty actually became one of my greatest assets. You don't really need to have every detail mapped out to be successful. You just need a willingness to learn and a flexibility to adapt as new challenges come your way.
Especially in a fast-paced company like ourselves, that would not at the beginning with not all of the resources. So I think that that's an amazing skill to have built. People think that they have to have everything figured out, and that can actually slow things down, at least in environments like this that are changing when the company is growing. To have that flexibility and not get frustrated and quit is something that I think has made you so valuable for our company while you've been with us for so long. So what made you comfortable with not having everything figured out? When do you start saying, not having everything in place helps me give that?
Yeah. Like I said, for a while, I always felt like that was a negative, but I think it sort of just dawned on me one day. Maybe it was the combination of getting older, raising kids, and watching them grow and navigate their own uncertainties. I realized that not having everything figured out isn't a weakness at all. Embracing that mindset has helped me stay flexible and opening to learning new things as I grow. Now I see uncertainty as an opportunity. I'm comfortable with figuring things out along the way.
How would you describe Wanhua's culture?
Wanhua culture, it's based in values of cross-function collaboration. I'm able to work closely with leadership and teams across the business to turn data and ideas into action. The openness to change and improve makes it easier to drive alignment, support innovation, and to help the organization move forward efficiently.
So after 20 years, what keeps work engaging and interesting?
So I've often said that Wanhua feels like my third child. In many ways, it really does. Being a part of this company from the very beginning and seeing how far it has come has been incredibly rewarding. Even after 20 years, there's still so much to build. And knowing I still play a role in shaping what's next is what keeps it meaningful for me.
Yeah, and I bet you have a sense of pride of like you said, as your child grows and you see what they have turned into,
Yeah.
see what the company has turned into. Looking back over 2 decades, what are you most proud in terms of contribution to Wanhua?
I'm most proud of is helping build a strong foundation and being someone the business could rely on as it grew. In the early days, there weren't defined roles or processes. We were just figuring things out as we went. And I was able to step in wherever help was needed, from customer service to logistics to planning and coordination, just a little bit of everything.
Yeah. And I'm a testament of that. Whenever people point me to your, to request something or that you will have the answer, you are indeed a reliable person, knowledgeable, has great ideas. We recently were working about how to all these leads that I share with, from a marketing perspective to your team. I do agree that you're a very important part of this company and very reliable and knowledgeable whenever we all have, issues or questions or we don't know where to go. Melissa, that's it. Thank you so much for taking the time to share your experience with us. I think, like as I mentioned, you are the perfect person for this episode this year in 2026 that we celebrate 20 years of the first kind of flag of Wanhua here in the United States. As always, it's really very interested to hear about your story and about all the stories of all the people that contribute to Wanhua, but yours is definitely something interesting, particular, fun. I can imagine myself as we all at some point during college we're trying to navigate what to do. But it's so interesting that you went from babysitting to pretty much our oldest, not in age, clearly, but like our oldest employee of Wanhua. So that's fantastic. Thank you for joining us today at Inside Wanhua, and I wish you success, many, many more years with the company, and I can wait to look forward what we achieve as a group and for the future of the company.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for joining me today, your host, Andreina Dewendt, as I go beyond the lab and get to know the people who make chemistry come alive at our growing global company. Because real innovation happens when culture and chemistry connect. For more episodes of Inside Wanhua, visit our YouTube channel, and you can also connect with me, Andreina Dewendt, on LinkedIn. I love to hear your stories about innovation in the chemical industry. See you next time on Inside Wanhua.